Hi, I'm Sarah, and I love Soulframe. You thought I was going to say archery, didn't you? Well, I love archery too, obviously. I'm an archer in real life. I use bows in every game I play, and I love to talk about all things archery related. Call it a special interest, if you will. Anyway, this video isn't just about archery, it's about Soulframe, a new game currently in development by Digital Extremes, the creators of Warframe. Soulframe is currently in a pre-alpha release called Soulframe Preludes. It's not a complete or a finished game yet, but what DE has made is so fun to play and incredibly beautiful that I can't help wanting to share my excitement with all of you. Today I'm going to show you 6 of my favorite things about Soulframe. Why 6? Because 6 is the sacred number of Artemis, the ancient Greek goddess of bow hunting. See, it all comes back to archery. Okay, you probably don't care. Let's move on. One of the first things I stumbled across in Soulframe was a cage with 2 baby deer trapped inside. Maybe this is kind of silly, especially for being the first thing I talk about on my list, but there's something to be said for the first impression a game makes on you. This early encounter gave me my first taste of Soulframe's vibe, and I knew right away that I was going to love this game. It's pure chance that the first caged animals I found were fawns. Beavers, rabbits, and squirrels also await rescue, and each have their own adorable animations when you set them free. I just really love deer, so I don't know, maybe it's fate that I found them first. As if that weren't awesome enough, one of the game's early quest lines involves defeating and then cleansing a corrupted stag. I don't want to spoil too much here, but there's a bit of sass in that interaction that is absolutely delightful. 10 out of 10, no notes. Oh no, he's scared. I wish I could pet you, little guy. It's gonna be okay. Oh. Okay, maybe one note. As is probably obvious by now, Soulframe has a very nature-heavy vibe, and I am here for it. We don't have a ton of content in Preludes just yet, but what's there gives clear messages about environmentalism, restoration, redemption, and enjoying the beauty of wilderness. These are all themes that I personally enjoy, but beyond that, Soulframe's way of engaging with those themes feels genuine. I'm not beat over the head with a message, I'm immersed in a world that creates an impression simply by being what it is. I love that this game has something to say about the world, and I love that it goes about it in this way. Like so many others, I found out about Soulframe through Warframe. If you don't know what Warframe is already, go check it out. It's a space ninja looter shooter that also has spaceship battles and pocket dimension sword fighting and time travel and romance quests, and it's a lot, honestly, and I mean that in the best possible way. I started playing in 2017, and it's not just a game I keep coming back to because I enjoy playing it. It's also a game I never entirely leave because the community is by far the best I've ever found in any game I've ever played. I think gamers and developers alike too often underestimate the role that devs have in creating the community of their game. DE has managed to cultivate a consistently positive environment through everything from fundamental game design to communication around fixes and updates to community streams and charity events. I'm proud to be a Tenno, and I'm confident that I will be proud to be an Envoy. Y'all, this game is so pretty, and this is pre-alpha. This is a world I want to get lost in. Since Preludes 9 dropped, I've been slowly working my way through the map, exploring new areas, and just appreciating the beauty of the world. Beyond the pretty tile sets, DE has a very clear vision of the aesthetics for Soulframe, and it all fits together beautifully. I typically have a tough time in games without a lot of character customization, but the aesthetics of my pre-alpha character fit the vibe of this world so well that my immersion is seamless. We don't have a ton of character customization in Soulframe just yet, but given Warframe's incredible customization options, I'm not worried about this long term. The last Soulframe dev stream gave us a preview of the hairstyles they're working on, and they look incredible. I think it's good that they're focusing on combat mechanics first and adding in cosmetics as other parts of the game fall into place. Soulframe doesn't feel quite like any other game. It's obviously inspired by other media, and the devs themselves have spoken and written about where they've drawn inspiration from, but Soulframe itself has its own clear identity. I love that the game takes that inspiration and creates something that doesn't feel derivative. The storyline is engaging enough that I'm excited for them to add more quests and deepen my envoy's relationship with the NPCs. The combat abilities are interesting on their own and create fun synergies between weapons and packs and between players in a group. Soulframe combat has its own unique feel, and I love it. Okay, it's time to talk about the archery. Bow combat will always make or break a game for me. So, how is Soulframe's archery? Preludes 8 bow was pretty good. There were some big issues. The damage was a bit low, arrows were too limited, and there was some absolutely unjustifiable bow abuse. How dare they? But Preludes 9 came with a bow rework, and it is incredible. To begin with, bow just feels good to shoot. This might be somewhere I'm unusually picky, but I have spent entirely too much time in games that did not deserve it solely because the bows physically felt fun to fire. Getting that part of the user interface just right matters a lot to me, and Soulframe nails it. With the latest rework, bows now offer 3 types of attack: a quick shot, a charge shot, and a hail of arrows. Quick shots and hails will embed arrows in terrain or enemies. Firing a charge shot nearby will cause all those embedded arrows to splinter, dealing damage and staggering foes. These basic archery mechanics synergize really well with one another, and they combine with your packed abilities to create fun and dynamic combat. I tend to be careful how I set up fights when I'm playing solo, thinking about where to place my hail and splinter my arrows so that I can manage larger groups of enemies. When I'm playing in a party, I use my splinter as more of a CC support tool for my melee teammate and pick off enemies while I watch their backs. I'm very impressed that DE came up with an archery system that feels just as good for group and solo combat. Bow combat arts offer different nodes you can choose as you level up your bow skill. This is an area where you can tell Soulframe is still in its alpha stage. The nodes they've put in so far offer things like extending the amount of time you have to splinter arrows you've embedded, or increasing the number of arrows in a hail. That said, there are a few, like Riposte and Vaunt, that I assume are just placeholders while DE continues to develop the game's combat system. At time of recording, you can only get 10 points of the combat arts, which isn't enough to max out what's currently being offered. It's not that big of a deal though, because resetting your combat arts is free and easy and can be done anytime you're not actively in combat, so there's nothing holding you back from trying out everything a weapon has to offer. So yeah, Soulframe is incredible. The archery is fantastic, the game is creative and beautiful, it's being developed by a company I stan, it has a message I can get behind, and I can rescue baby deer. What more could I ask for? Come back! Let me love you! Yeah, I guess that. DE, let us pet the animals. I want to hang out in the forest and pet fawns. If you're interested in seeing more Soulframe content, let me know in the comments. I'm obviously pretty new to making videos, but this game has inspired me to create. Also, keep an eye on the Soulframe website. DE announced in the last dev stream that they are hoping to make Preludes keys widely available very soon. Make sure to tune in to their next stream if you'd like to become an envoy yourself. Until then, happy hunting!